Hello, creative cooks. I hope you're staying warm and cozy wherever you are. I've got another special set of Gambian recipes for you today, and here's a gist on them. In the Gambia, bread and porridge are often served at the breakfast table together with tea. Sometimes the bread is served with a spread of butter or dipped in milk, sweetened with sugar to make punsei, or eaten with akara and gravy. And the porridges are often made with fermented grain like corn or made with rice. In this video, I'm sharing two typical breakfast ideas you can have in the Gambia based on bread and porridge that are sure to energize you for the day ahead, just as it works for the people of the Gambia. Alright, first recipe on the list is Burro Chocola, which is simply bread and chocolate spread. It's a quick and common breakfast option that is often served with tea or coffee. For the chocolate spread, I'll be making chocolate hazelnut spread from scratch, which I believe is what a chocolate lover truly desires. And guess what? It's naturally sweetened with dates and completely dairy-free, a perfect condiment to make burro chocolat. You're gonna love this one. I'll have all the ingredients on the screen and the full recipe on my website for your convenience. I'll add that link to the description box below. Let's get to it. I'm going to start off by toasting some hazelnuts. The ones on this package are dry roasted and unsalted. It's important that they're unsalted so you can control the amount of salt in the final product. Spread out your hazelnuts on a parchment-lined baking sheet. I'll toast the hazelnuts alongside some raw peanuts, also known as groundnuts, which I need to make some peanut butter to make some domada, also known as groundnut soup, which is another popular recipe in the Gambia that I'll be sharing in another video. Toast these two nuts for 5 to 6 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Be sure to keep an eye on them because they toast pretty quickly and you do not want them to burn. Toasting the hazelnuts as well as the peanuts helps to revive and release their natural oils so that you can grind them into a paste without adding extra oil. Next, I'm peeling some medjool dates. I'll always recommend that you buy dates that have their pits in them because it gives you a chance to inspect their cavities to make sure they're free from insect eggs, which are quite an eyesore. And you can also use the pits to start a date farm instead of discarding those seeds. After peeling the dates, set them aside. Next, I'm using my favorite dark chocolate chips made by Ghetard in this recipe. These ones are actually extra dark chocolate chips made with 63 grams of cocoa. I'll be melting 125 grams of it in a clean and moisture-free mixing bowl, which I'll be adding to the spread for a velvety touch. Next, on medium heat, add some warm water into a saucepan to about halfway mark and place the mixing bowl with the chocolate chips on it, making sure that the bottom of the mixing bowl is not touching the water in the saucepan. Ensure that the water doesn't boil. All you want is a very nice slow simmer to melt your chocolate chips within 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how big your chocolate chips are. To a clean, dry, and moisture-free food processor, add in the cooled hazelnuts, the pitted dates, 100% of unsweetened red Dutch processed cocoa powder by Ghetard as well. Add in some ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and coarse sea salt. Grind this combination on high speed until well combined and almost smooth. Then push down any coarse bits on the sides of the processor. Now wipe the bottom of the mixing bowl with the melted chocolate to prevent any moisture from entering the food processor. Then add the melted chocolate to the food processor and grind the entire combination on high speed until you get a smooth or your preferred consistency. Now you gotta make sure that this entire process is moisture free, as you really don't want your hard work to go to waste with just a drop of water, be it from a damp food processor or the bottom of the bowl with the melted chocolate. Now mine is far from smooth, and in fact I prefer a gritty, nutty spread, but you might actually really like a smooth consistency, and that's okay. You'll need to process the combination a little longer and making sure that the blades of your food processor are a lot sharper so the spread can be as smooth as possible. Once you're done processing, store the chocolate hazelnut spread in a clean, dry, and moisture-free glass jar or jars, depending on how much you make, and keep this product in your pantry or in your fridge. If you want the integrity of the components to last longer, keep this in your fridge. You can also add a few dollops of the chocolate hazelnut spread to your porridge if you like, or have it with some seasonal fruits. And there you have it, Burro Chocola. I'm adding in some fresh berries, raspberries to be specific, and mint leaves for an elevated look, since you eat with your eyes first. If you watched my last video and staying tuned to this video, I appreciate you. You've probably noticed a theme already: Gambian recipes. All throughout January, I'll be sharing some of my favorite and popular Gambian recipes I ate growing up in the Gambia. And I continue to make these recipes even up until now in adulthood. Like Nyambe Nyebe I made last week, Domoda, Benachin, and so on. Then every month of this year, I'll be highlighting popular recipes from different countries. I have Japan listed for January. If you want popular recipes from your country to be featured, be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up. Let me know your suggestions in the comment section and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new uploads. Alright, on to the next recipe. I'm making Chura Gherte. I mean, if you know this, I salute you. It's a rice and groundnut porridge. Groundnut meaning peanuts. I'll be using that word interchangeably on this video and moving forward. It is a hot porridge, typically eaten for breakfast in the Gambia, but it can also be eaten for dinner. Made with ground raw groundnuts, rice, and a few seasonings, it is often served with yogurt or condensed milk to yield a nourishing and filling meal to get you set for the day ahead. So, if you're aiming to take a break from oatmeal, this is the recipe for you. And I'm making it extra rich with protein with a secret ingredient you'll be sure to never leave out of this recipe. To make this one, I'm going to start off by grinding some raw peanuts to make what is called nufly. It's a term used to describe ground raw peanuts. These peanuts have already been dried out of their shell, so they are moisture free but also very rich in oil content. Alternatively, one can use ground roasted peanuts, which is peanut butter, but the most traditional way to make Chura Gherte is with ground raw peanuts. Add a good amount of raw peanuts to your food processor to favor you when you want to plan your meals in advance. The more you make, the better. Grind them until they're as fine as possible, similar to almond flour, without the contents turning to paste. Once you're done grinding your groundnuts, you'll get a very light and slightly coarse texture. Feel it with dry hands and gauge if you want to grind it a little bit more. Then store the dry groundnuts in a clean, dry glass container. It stacks up pretty well. If you've never had this before, you're in for a nice discovery. I wouldn't say a nice treat because you have to flavor it the way you want. And aside from porridges like Chura Gherte, you can add this nafly to soups like plasas and another rice dish like Mburro, all Gambian recipes. The end product of this ground groundnuts stores pretty well in the fridge. That way the oil from the groundnuts doesn't go rancid if you leave it out in the open, like in your pantry. Breakfast is no joke in my household. My sister is preparing to make some oven-baked pancake by referencing my vegan protein-packed pancake recipe, which I shared at the end of last year on my YouTube channel. And I was thinking, if you're out of hemp seeds, you can replace it with this grounded raw groundnuts I just made, since groundnuts are very much supercharged with plant-based protein. So there you have it. Alright, so remember when I said I'm making this Chura Gherte a bit more high in protein than I normally have had it? It's because I'm adding in some quinoa. That's right. Here I have a tricolor quinoa, which is quinoa made with 3 different colors. You can use any color of quinoa you prefer. I like adding a bit of je ne sais quoi to my Chura Gherte instead of making it plain. That's okay. Together with that, I'm adding in some rice. You can use short grain or long grain without much starch. I'm using long grain rice, jasmine to be specific. Measure out equal amounts of the rice and the quinoa, then combine them in a bowl in preparation to wash them. But before you wash them, measure out some nafly, the grounded raw peanuts I made earlier, because remember, you want to keep this product moisture free so it doesn't grow mold after an accidental splash of water. Wash the rice and quinoa with water until the water runs clear. Feel free to use a sieve to catch the quinoa grains since it's the smallest of the two grains. To a fairly large cooking pot, add in the washed grains together with water and the ground raw peanuts. Season this combination with coarse sea salt, and I'm adding in some cinnamon powder for a sophisticated flavor, which is normally not a typical ingredient used in Gambian cooking. Stir this combination well, cover the pot with a lid, and bring to a boil on high heat. Yamaroos. At about the 10-minute mark, when the contents are at a rolling boil, use a wooden spoon to stir the pot and reduce the heat to about medium level. Cover the pot slightly with its lid and stir the contents every now and again to prevent the contents from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Continue to boil the contents until the porridge has thickened and most of the liquid has been absorbed. This will take between another 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how thick you want your porridge to be, but you definitely do not want it watery. At about the 30-minute mark, when the porridge is getting thicker, it is typical to add in granulated sugar to sweeten the porridge. But I'm switching things up here, as I prefer to sweeten my Chura Gherte with honey after portioning it in my bowl. Once done cooking, turn off the heat and stir in some ground nutmeg. Also, another layer of sophisticated flavor. Chura Gherte is often served with yogurt or condensed milk. I preferred the latter growing up, but here's an updated version. I'm serving it with cashew yogurt. You can find a recipe on my channel. I'm also going to top it off with some homemade peanut butter that I'll be using to make the damoda. I'm adding in a drizzle of honey for sweetness and of course some crushed roasted peanuts. Y'all, once you have it this way, you'll never want to have it any other way. I'm serving it with some mint tea for cozy experience. Creative Cooks, that's 2 Gambian breakfast recipes you can try this week. Let me know in the comment section below which one you'll be trying first and which one you'll be trying next. Be sure to use the link below to download your free high plant protein food list to help you stay on track to achieving your diet and fitness goals with amazing high protein recipes. And for more recipes like this in this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to share this video with a loved one who is looking forward to cooking more cultural foods to make on a daily basis. Thank you again for watching and chat with you in my next video. Later!